Now let's take a look at Photoshop CS's support for not only camera raw images, but also 16-bit. Photoshop CS incorporates what used to be called the Camera Raw plugin that used to be sold separately as a $99 addition into Photoshop. Now that functionality is built into Photoshop, making your Photoshop investment that much more valuable. I'm going to go ahead and highlight this Camera Raw image that came from a Canon PowerShot camera and double-click on it. When I do that, you'll notice that Photoshop opens into the Camera Raw interface before opening the image into Photoshop. Let me slide this window over so you can see more of the editing capabilities. And as you can see here, we have the ability to make adjustments to our image before we bring it in. We have a basic mode that will probably be more like the Camera Raw plugin that you once knew in Photoshop 7, but now we also have advanced capabilities that give you more editing capabilities inside your raw interface. So I'm going to go back to basic, and one of the things that we can do inside the basic interface, as before, we can set a color profile for the image before it comes in. More importantly, we can either bring the image in as a standard 8-bit image, or we can bring it in as a 16-bit image, maintaining more of the image data. We can also pick an image size to bring it in at. We can go back to the original size, or we can downsize it or upsize it. And we can go ahead and also make adjustments for our white balance. So I'm going to go ahead and go in, and instead of custom, I'm going to pick some of the choices to show you what we have a choice between. For example, we can go back to the way the image was as shot. We can also choose daylight. We have shade. And as you can see, various changes are being made to the overall tonal qualities of the image. We have a tungsten, which I like that one as well. But I'm going to go ahead and put it on auto white balance. We can also make adjustments to the exposure, shadow, brightness, contrast, and saturation, including some things that deal with the detail of the image, such as the sharpness and luminance smoothing. So you have a ton more capabilities now in working with your Camera Raw images. I'm going to go ahead and click OK and bring this image in with our new auto white balance setting. Now, Photoshop is bringing in that raw data. And because I left it in 16-bit mode, we are now working with this image in 16-bit mode as well. And we can check that by simply going up to the image menu and coming down to mode. And you'll see that we're working in 16 bits per channel as opposed to 8 bits per channel. But one thing you'll notice is that most of our tools are still available to us. In fact, all of our tools are still available to us. Because now Photoshop CS has much more capabilities for working with 16-bit images. So no longer do you have to settle for working in 8-bit. If you choose to work in 16-bit for your more high-quality professional-based images, you can.